Hey guys, Telegram Sam here. If you don't already know, I have an Instagram. It's telegram_Sam_vinyl. So if you're on Instagram, check me out on there. But today's video is just a recent vinyl pickups where I show you guys the music I have gotten and listened to these last 2 weeks. So actually the first one I'm going to show is when I meant to show my last recent vinyl pickups. That was part of that big punk record haul that I got at Tomorrow Records. I just completely forgot about this one. But this is Kill City by MoPOP and James Williamson. This is a big hole in my Iggy Pop collection. I cannot believe I haven't had this until now. But this is an original 1977 US press hard rock punk, if you're not familiar with Iggy Pop and James Williamson. They famously got together after James Williamson became the guitarist for the Stooges, and they did my all-time favorite album ever, Raw Power, together. But this was recorded as a demo in 1975, but wasn't released until 1977 in an altered form by Bomp Records. And this is an interesting version of this album because side one was mastered by Kendon Recorders, and then the second side was mastered at Sterling Sound. So it's kind of like this weird Frankenstein version of the album. You really can't tell the sound difference between the two mastered sides, but it's a great killer copy. I'm so glad to have an OG in the collection. This is the one that came on this translucent green with the fabulous Bomp label. Alright, and then last weekend, I was in Seattle because I took my mom to the B-52s, their farewell tour, for her birthday. It was a great show. They sound amazing. They only played like an hour and a half set, but they played all the songs you would want the B-52s to play, plus a little bit more. And the Tubes opened for them, and they put on a killer show. I'm forgetting the name of the frontman for the Tubes, but man, he's like 70, and the last two songs they did, one of them being White Punks on Dope, which was my personal favorite Tube song, he was wearing these like platform Lady Gaga heels, and he was in stockings and like a bra and had like a blonde wig on, and there was a lady in a nurse outfit that had to come out and help him get on stage without falling after he did that little outfit change. It was just one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I'm like, Mick Jagger doesn't do that shit. But it was such a great show, and it was like the first real show I've been to since COVID was sort of lifted. So yeah, it was a great show, and I stopped by Easy Street Records, one of the best record stores in Seattle, before we went to the show, and I dropped a bag there. So this is just the first half of stuff I've gotten. I'll probably show the next half in the next recent vinyl pickups, just because I got a lot, and plus I haven't gotten a chance to really listen to all of it since I've gotten back to Portland. So this is just the first half of stuff I've gotten. But first, the 45s. We have It Means Nothing to Me backed with We Got the Neutron Bomb by the Weirdos. This is a 1988 US bootleg punk rock, if you're not familiar with the Weirdos. This is a collection of some of their first demo sessions recorded in Hollywood in 1977. I recently just read Alice Baggs' autobiography, and she actually dated Nikki Beat, who was the drummer of the Weirdos, and plus I've known of the Weirdos because they were very early LA punk band that were very influential, kind of like with Black Flag, the Baggs obviously, Germs, X. They were just kind of like one of those early pioneers in the whole scene in LA. But yeah, great killer punk rock. Next up, we have Love My Way, backed with I Don't Want to Be Your Shadow by the Psychedelic Furs. This is a OG 1982 US press, post-punk, new wave, alt-rock, if you're not familiar with the Psychedelic Furs. But this was their first single from their third studio album called Forever Now, and it was produced by Todd Rundgren, who also played some drums, I think, on Love My Way. But yeah, such a killer song. this was a song that kind of made me fall in love with the Psychedelic Furs. But yeah, I still don't have any Psychedelic Furs albums in my collection, but happy to have this single. Next up, we have Live at Tunnel, Rome, Italy, February 23rd, 1994 TV broadcast by Nirvana. This is a 2022 European bootleg and rock, alternative rock. The A side is Serve the Servants and the B side is Dumb, and it was the last TV appearance the band had before Kurt Cobain's death in the April of that year. But yeah, this is a great sounding bootleg. I really love their version of Serve the Servants on here. Dumb is just dumb, you know. But yeah, it just came on Black Vinyl with this black label. I love Nirvana. Definitely a very early influential band for me. They were kind of what got me into punk rock and got me interested into it. And yeah, just love them. Great to have this in the collection. This is a blind buy. I just kind of bought because it looked interesting. And I feel like I've heard of this band before, but this is Agent Orange backed with Driving by Ski Patrol. This is a 1980 UK press, and this is new wave post-punk. This was their second single, and they were only together from 1979 to 1981, and they formed from the ashes of two UK bands, The Wall and the Debutantes. But man, this is killer. If you ever see Ski Patrol stuff out in the wild, definitely pick it up, or you could probably find them on YouTube or maybe Spotify. But this is a killer, just new wave post-punk, just everything you would want from those two genres. So definitely check them out. If you love those genres or are interested in them, really killer. Next up, this is Two More by Patti Smith. This is 2007 US Press alt-rock. This was released as a promo for her cover album 12. She does a cover of Perfect Day by Lou Reed and Here I Dreamt I Was an Architect by the Decemberists. Her cover of Perfect Day by Lou Reed is alright, but her cover of the Decemberist songs is awesome. I really love it. Again, Patti Smith is one of those people I for some reason still don't have any of her full-length albums, but I'm happy to start off with this single. Alright, next up for the long plays. I finally found a version of Nevermind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols by the Sex Pistols. This originally came out in 1977. This is a mystery US press. I believe it's a late 70s reissue just because it doesn't have a barcode or anything on it. But punk rock, probably one of the most influential and important albums in punk rock. But yeah, this was their only studio album, and again, just as soon as this album came out, it's like, you know, it changed the world, it changed music forever. It's kind of like there was before Nevermind the Bollocks and then after Nevermind the Bollocks. I mean, pretty much every punk band ever has been influenced by this album in some way. And it's really cool because when I got this and I was looking at the record, I didn't even notice that there was something else inside. It wasn't until me and my mom got back to our hotel room that I found this. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever found inside of a record. But it's this handwritten little pamphlet that someone who obviously had this record before me made. But it's all handwritten lyrics to all of the songs, and they even put like the credits of who wrote the song and like how long it is. But it's just one of the coolest things, because obviously this was before the time where you could just look up song lyrics on Google. This was like someone repeatedly listened to this record and wrote all of the lyrics down. You can see where they like messed up and fixed it. But yeah, this is like one of the coolest things I've ever found inside a record. Like I found notes, I found pictures, I found ticket stubs in records before, but you know someone poured a lot of love and labor into this, and obviously loved this album and took the time to do this. And I feel very honored that this album that was obviously important to someone is now in my collection. It's just a really cool reminder of how cool music is and how cool like secondhand records are, and how you're this was probably someone's all-time favorite album at some point, and they probably spent hours listening to it on repeat, and it's just really cool that's now part of my collection. And this one just came on Warner Brothers label. And then another Sex Pistols thing. This was really cool. I don't think I've ever seen this before. This is the Sex Pistols file, 1976 to 1978, by the Sex Pistols. This is a 1980 U.S. bootleg, punk rock. Supposedly there's only 250 of these made. I love how a lot of bootlegs will have this like, oh, this is number blank out, whatever, but they never fill out what number you have. But yeah, this is just, it has the AM takes, early demos of Nevermind the Bollocks, and then it also has a Live at the 100 Club in London, Live in Dallas, and then their last show at Winterland in San Francisco. Yeah, the London show was pretty crappy. The sound recording on that is pretty terrible. It'll go from being really loud and then it'll drop down to being super quiet. It's just very fuzzy and not that great. The early A&M takes are really awesome. It's really cool to hear them working through, these iconic songs, or what would go to be these iconic songs. The Dallas show is probably the best show on this. Really great sound recording quality. In the beginning, there's a radio advert for the show, and it's like this very cinematic guy being like, if you thought Alice Cooper was weird, wait until you see the Sex Pistols. And then I think it was like $3.50 or something like that to see them. It's wild. And then the Winterland concert is all right. You can tell the person that was recording it was standing right next to the bass amp, because all you can hear is Sid Vicious' mediocre attempt at playing bass, and then like a little bit of Johnny Rotten, not much of Steve Jones. But yeah, I think this is a cool thing. It's just a cool sort of bootleg set to have if you're a hardcore Sex Pistols fan or just a punk fan in general. And I love how one of their encore songs is a cover of No Fun by the Stooges. They really sort of punk it up even more. But yeah, a really cool thing to find. I think I paid like $70 for it, and that's like the median price it goes for, and the records are in great condition, so I just like had to have it. Next up we have Please by the Pet Shop Boys. This originally came out in 1986, and this is a 2018 European press. Great electronic synth pop. This was their debut studio album. I love how small their picture is in the middle here. But yeah, just such an important synth pop 80s band. Their song West End Girls, I just love that song. That's what got me into Pet Shop Boys, and I've been looking for a nice copy of this album for a while, so I'm glad to have it. And just came on this Parlophone white and black label. And these next two records I actually got when me and my mom went to MoPOP. MoPOP is the big music and pop culture museum that is right next to the Seattle Space Needle in the Seattle Center, they call it. But it's the crazy looking building. If you've been to Seattle, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, just have some great exhibitions going on. They have a great hip-hop photography exhibition. They have, I'm forgetting the name of the lady, but she designed all the clothes for like Black Panther, Selma, a lot of Spike Jonze's movies, Lee Butler movies, but they had all of her amazing costumes there, like all the ones from Do the Right Thing, Mookie's, Radio Raheem's costumes were there. It was really cool to see. And also they're doing a great showcase of all of Paul Allen, who was the co-owner of Microsoft with Bill Gates. He had a huge movie memorabilia collection. After he died, his family donated a lot of it to the museum, and a lot of it's there. It's just all this crazy stuff. He was very much a nerd. But they also have a great gift shop, and they had like a discount records rack, and I got a couple of records from there. First off, we have The Man Who Fell to Earth movie soundtrack. This is originally came out in 2016. This is a European press. But yeah, it's mainly tracks by Stomo Yamashita, that are kind of like these electronic ambience tracks. And then you have also John Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas doing these like kind of Western country pop songs. It's a very interesting dynamic, but I actually haven't seen this movie yet. I've been meaning to see it, but God, just David Bowie is so attractive. I love these pictures of him, and like the inner sleeves have these great art inside with the Iron Maiden style writing. But yeah, this is a cool one to have. I'm a sucker for anything David Bowie related, so I had to get it. And it just came on these very simple custom labels. You probably won't be able to see that. Next up, we have Tomorrow's Modern Boxes by Thom Yorke. This is an original 2014 European press, and I would describe this as like abstract electronic music. This was his second solo album, and I found some critic sort of snippets that I found describe this really well as like eerie, neurotic, and with a quiet, restrained sense of dread. That's such a perfect way to describe this, because it's kind of like what I would imagine a soundtrack to a nightmare would be, but like not in like a terrifying way, but just like in a low sort of humming, like that person said, neurotic, dreadful way. But yeah, it's really good. I mean, if you're expecting this to be like a Radiohead album, it's not, but it's definitely a Thom Yorke solo album. You can definitely hear him noodling around with just electronic noise rock, even at some points. But then it sort of goes to some mellow kind of lo-fi things. It just has its peaks and its downfalls, and I just really enjoyed it as someone who isn't really that familiar with Thom Yorke's solo work. And this one just came on white vinyl. It's cool. Custom label. And last but not least, I wanted to show a recent album that just came out this Friday, and it's An Evening with Silk Sonic by Silk Sonic. This originally came out digitally in 2021 and on CD in 2021, but it wasn't until this Friday that it was finally released on vinyl. Probably due to all of the vinyl pressing plants being backed up with stuff, but this is a 2022 European press. This is just such a great ode to like 70s R&B soul funk, but it still has its modern pop and like hip hop sensibilities to it. It's the debut album from this fantastic super duo of Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak. Bootsy Collins even came up with the name in his special guest host, Bootsy Collins. But yeah, he does his Bootsy Baby thing, and I think he even plays bass a little bit on After Last Night with Thundercat, who I'm obsessed with. This is just nothing but a fun, great, upbeat album. You can definitely hear, the James Brown, Curtis Mayfield, Isaac Hayes, obviously Bootsy Collins stuff. The influence they were sort of listening to while making this, while also adding their own modern, sensibilities to it. It's just so great, and I always forget what a powerhouse Bruno Mars is as a singer, and I think he even plays guitar on here. Anderson .Paak is amazing. He's an awesome drummer, and if for some reason you haven't listened to this or picked this up, listen to it, stream it, look up the songs on YouTube. Just like every song on here is just so much fun. You can't help but dance to it. It's just awesome. And I'm so glad to finally have it on vinyl. And this one just came on black vinyl with this Brown Atlantic label. I think Walmart has like an exclusive sort of gold version of the album, but I'm happy to have that one. But yeah, that was all I got and listened to this week. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.